Welcome into UNCG Baseball Stadium on this Monday afternoon as we have a delayed Game 3 of the weekend series between the two schools of Greensboro. North Carolina A&T on the road to take on UNCG for Game 3 of the weekend series alongside my...
Up in the bottom of the 8th inning, and then they went ahead and took that 4-2 win over the Aggies. So North Carolina A&T still looking to go back into the win column. It's been quite a few weeks since they've won a game, whereas UNCG, if they win today, then they go ahead and have a winning record going into this season.
Yeah, for A&T, this would make 10 in a row if they were to fall today. It'd be their 10th loss in a row, looking to avoid being swept here this afternoon, and getting ready for the first pitch here between the Aggies and the Spartans. And on the mound today for UNCG is Grant Aycock. This will be his 4th start of the season. He's thrown 11 innings so far. ERA a little high. It's an 0-1 count from Aycock to Smith.
Again, this North Carolina A&T, their first, second, third, fourth batters are just really strong and kind of the main part of their offensive output this season. And so you want to see them get out to a really good start if you're an Aggies fan.
Smith chops one back up the middle. Nice play there by Perez. Shovels over to get the lead.
Strikeouts, but still 5 earned runs and 8 hits allowed against him. That was through 4 innings pitched. And so he's looking to go ahead and get another win this afternoon. Was also actually a very good player in high school at Ledford High School as well. And so he has some good experience, and we'll see what he's able to do against the Spartans today.
Yeah, kind of guy from the 3-3-6.
He's seeing some results that you wanted to see so far this season. And again, before this weekend, they played 8 games against ACC opponents, and so that will definitely skew that number somewhat.
I think that's a big part of why Aycock's numbers may be where they are currently on the mound today as well. That one at the knees for strike 1. And it's a 2-1 count now to Jeremy Wolf. It's in the first game of the series on Friday. That'll take ball 1 low.
Yeah, batted 3 of 4 in that one. Had an RBI and a triple. Was really, I would say, the biggest part of UNCG's offensive output in that first game, and he really got the team going late.
Sintel with the 1-0. Looks at the runner at second. Out of the zone again. Supposed to originally be played yesterday for Game 3 and then delayed from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock today, but turned out to be a beautiful day here in Greensboro.
Yeah, definitely a luxury of the schools being separated by about only a 10 to 15 minute drive from each other.
Sintel looks back at the runner at second again. Here's the 2-2. And just outside of the zone, that one gets away from...
I mean, it's adrenaline's running. He's had a pretty good series so far. Had a batted 2 of 4 with an RBI and a double in the first game against NC A&T.
This one dribbled down the first baseline foul, so he'll extend the at-bat. Still a 1-2 count to White, looking for his 18th hit of the season, trying to put...
Somewhat similar trend, I guess, what we saw especially yesterday, where it's a defensive battle. Neither team's really finding their footing right now. Still very early on, of course, but it looks like both pitchers have settled in pretty well here early, and it's the batters that really can't find anything going here.
And Edwards will step in. He's hitting .250 on the season so far. He'll up the season, essentially. That pitch misses outside and low for ball 1. And it's a 1-0 count now after Edwards walked aboard there. And Bruce Weiss, the freshman, is at the plate. Hitting .255 on the season, a home run and 5 RBI. To Gomez. Trying to extend the inning here in the top of the second. Aycock trying to move through his second inning of work. 2-1. That one outside in the dirt gets away from the catcher Dilly, and that will give Weiss a chance to get
of like other postseason tournaments, both in terms of the men's and the women's. I mean, the men's side, you got the CBI and a lot of different changing things with the NIT, and then of course the same thing on the women's side.
And then that one way outside. First time we've seen him miss like that. It's a 2-1 count.
Yeah, both Truitt brothers have done a really good job here for this UNCG team so far this season, especially out in right field and center field.
Yep. Very good defensive players. 2-1, foul back there.
G fan.
Yeah, I think if you're the UNCG coaching staff, Budzik, it's kind of a matter of when, not if. When his bat starts to come around, he had such a good player for him last season. And just gotten off to a little bit of a slow start this year, but this one lifted down the right field line and drops in there. He'll try to stretch.
Caught the batters by surprise, and it's really good to see if you're a North Carolina A&T fan just how he's caught some of these batters off guard throughout this one.
That one came through a little high, I guess, when it came across the plate, and the count evens up 2-2.
Yeah, I think maybe you and me were maybe expecting strike three there for a second.
Well, yeah, it was one of those that Perez.
We were talking about D2 transfers with Commode, but also Perez, a D2 transfer in his own right, played at Rollins College, was a second-team All-Sunshine State player.
That was a really good player there for Rollins. That's 2-1 here, just a bit outside there. Strike out for Aycock, and it's one away here in the top of the third. Going to bring Nick DiCarlo to the plate, hitting .227 on the season.
Yeah, DiCarlo also leads the team right now with home runs, third on the team in hits. Also had a solo home run in that second UNCG game this past Saturday.
Aycock looks in here for the 1-2. Nobody on, 2 outs. Comes with it and misses inside there as the count evens up 2-2. Here to Truitt. Sintel. This will be Sintel's 50th pitch. And just fouled off. Count will stay at 2-2.
UNT is actually struggling as a whole right now to bat. Only 1 of 9 in their at-bats so far.
As Dilly will step back in. And right at the knees for strike 2. Done a good job for the most part in this one of keeping his pitches down low, even when he's missed.
Certainly makes it easier for his catcher behind home plate. And that
towards right center field on the run and not able to get there in time is DiCarlo. White is going to make the turn at second and will slide in with a triple.
solid hit right there by White. I thought that one was gone for a second.
I think he just hit it to the wrong part of the ballpark.
No, yeah, if he hit that to the far right.
Brantley Truitt will step in 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout. Hitting .222 on the season. Try to give the Spartans a little cushion here in the bottom of the third. Sintel, breaking ball to the inside. This slump to start the year.
And I think this is actually the guy you want right now if you're UNCG. Even though he's in an overall slump, got to remember, solo home run in the second game against the Aggies and an RBI back in the first game. And so he's been able to produce when he's entered into the batter's box so far this weekend. And he has the hot hand right now with a double back in the second inning.
Kind of want him to at least be able to go 5 just because of what we talked about with that game coming up. 2-1, Smith chops one towards first, and that will make it through the gap into right field. So Smith leads off the top of the 4th inning with a base hit for the Aggies, and a runner on with no outs. That'll bring J.T. Taylor to the plate.
Eerily similar to the first hit we saw this afternoon for North Carolina A&T, all the way back in the first inning.
Buckled the knees of Taylor as he stood in and watched it. Christian Amaro, who's 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout, will step in. Amaro takes up a little bit there for ball 1.
I think it's interesting because you look at A&T's schedule. They play William and Mary, of course, this upcoming weekend, and that's arguably your most winnable season. The bottom of the CAA last season was still able to beat a nationally ranked Wake Forest team at home. And so I think really from top to bottom, a lot of teams in the CAA can go up against almost anyone. And that's really one, just because college baseball, you get some wacky results like that. But it does show that the conference indeed has a lot of talent.
3-2, that one inside. Amaro takes for.
Yeah, you have a really good opportunity to turn 2 right now. Got to be alert if you're Budsick over at shortstop.
2-1, fouled back there by Edwards. And the count now 2-2. The advantage for Edwards is with runners on here. There's a pretty big gap between first and second, and catches the outside corner for strike 1. 2-1 count.
Again, being a pitcher, it's just one of those things of being in the zone where if you're able to find the strike zone, then it's easy to continue there. But once you kind of start to falter, it can be really hard to find your rhythm again and try to find it.
That one misses inside there, and the count now 3-1 to Jeremy Wood.
Head coach for multiple D1 programs.
Athletics in the bloodline, that's for sure. His younger brother down a little further in the batting order. A.J. Jones on the move into the middle of the field, throws it over, made a terrific effort, but the throw just a little bit off the mark. I think they'll call that one a hit there for Trey Truitt. Is
3 in this one, and then he struggled today as well, and so he's trying to kind of rekindle that fire that he had in that first game against the Aggies.
So Jacob Dilly will dig in here. First batter that Halford will see. Dilly hitting .231 on the season so far with a home run and 7. You've already got one out. Gives you the chance at the double play again.
Yeah, I was about to say, good opportunity to turn 2 here, whether it be at third or second, and so you got multiple options there.
So Parker White, the freshman, who's 1 for 2 already on the day with a run scored, with a triple actually. First triple of his career here at UNCG. Inside from Halford, and that's going to load up the bases now for UNCG.
Yeah, things getting from bad to worse right now for North Carolina A&T. Again, only a 4-run advantage for UNCG, which isn't huge, but you kind of get the feeling with the way momentum is swinging right now and how North Carolina A&T has started to struggle a little bit here defensively in this half end, starting to spiral out of control. They're having a really hard time of finding that strike zone, and now some of these UNCG batters are either getting hot or at the very least being smart in terms of not swinging at bad pitches.
That one right on the outside corner for strike 1. So spot in this bullpen, but comes into a tough spot. Bases loaded with just 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and facing a guy in Jacob Budzik that's 2 for 2 on the day with 2 RBI already.
Yeah, definitely an unenviable position right now for Thompson. I mean, you got guys at all the bases. You got probably the hot
spot, and it's 2 away. Case Kermode, who's 1 for 1 on the day now, will come to the plate.
Solid job right there by Thompson, going up against probably the best guy that UNCG has this evening. And not only that, but catching him looking. I mean, still a long way to go from him. Not out of the woods yet, but you definitely like the situation.
3rd hit of the season. Number 7 hitter in the order, and Aycock gets him swinging for strike 3, and that's the 6th strikeout of the night for Aycock through 4 1/3 innings.
I mean, he's turning into the MVP of this game so far. I mean, he's been able to just put batters away, no run.
When he puts the ball in play, he's dangerous because of how fast he is. He just kind of has struggled at times putting the ball in play.
Also batting .300 so far this season when he has runners on base.
That throw over to first, not in time.
Seen that a lot less here in game.
Here in the top of the 5th. First 3 innings of this game hummed along pretty quick, about 50 minutes, and then the 4th inning took about 40 by itself. That pitch down in the dirt. Wood came off the bag. An incredible throw down to second by Dilly, but just a touch late.
Yeah, Wood was almost caught napping right there. I mean, he had to scramble back.
Aycock with 6 strikeouts, just 3 hits allowed through 4 2/3 so far. Right-hander comes set for the 2-1. Comes inside and low, and it's now a 3-1 count. Business here to start off the bottom of the 5th.
That's what you wanted right there. Just go ahead, get on base, keep no outs on the board, and give the top of that batting lineup an opportunity to go ahead and get going and put this one out of reach. I mean, Jeremy Wolf, Trey Truitt, and Jacob Dilly, when they get going, they can really pile those runs on. So UNCG go ahead and advance the 3rd, and so kind of opened up some pretty decent looks right now for UNCG early on here.
Chopper hit over towards 3rd. Nice snag. Fires over to first in time, and it's 1 away. Good job there at 3rd as well by Wood to look for the first, but the throw is in the dirt. It'll get away, get past Tyler Smith, and the run will come around to score. And another error for the Aggies cost them, and it's now 6-0 UNCG.
Yeah, that one really stings if you're North Carolina A&T, because Wood made the initial play fielding the ball, and I would really say out of a really nice game against High Point, though, 2-run home run, batted 2 of 5. I mean, he was, or 2-run home run against High Point. I mean, he was a pivotal part of beating that High Point team that has been really good so far this season in terms of Big South baseball.
That pitch misses outside for ball 4, and runners on first and second now with 2 outs is Luke Barrett just trying to limit the damage here in the bottom of the 5th. 2-1, big swing there. Count will even up at 2-2 to Holland. In first 3 innings, got through him at about, this is outside there. Count will even up at 1-1 to Edwards. Freshman getting some opportunities early in his career at A&T.
Getting a lot of freshmen on this A&T roster, and if they're able to keep them around in these next couple of years, then they could have
2-0 count to Kermode.
Kermode had that RBI single back in the second inning, also was hit by a pitch in the third, so he's 2 of 3 in terms of getting on base tonight.
And fastball catches the outside corner there from Robinson to Kermode, and it's now a 2-1 count.
High school career, and at least if the call on the field's correct, now has a runner in scoring position.
Robinson, big swing and a miss there, and that's strike 2. So 2-2 count. Outside and low. So that one gets to the backstop, and the count evens up at 1-1. Just get a look at the throw across and the stretch there from White to get the put out.
I was about to say, it was actually a nice stretch there by White. He had to actually lean out to get that one a lot more than I had initially thought he did.
1-1 is Woods skies one over into right field.
Barlow and Weish, they've done their jobs pretty well in the outfield.
And Parker White now will step in, who's 1 for 3 on the day, hitting .269 on the season. And we were told, by the way, and that's a hard hit ball by a White that will slice through into left field for a base hit with 1 out. That the replay of what happened in the 6th inning that left up.
Make that 4 straight walks right there for Truitt, and also got an RBI off of his last walk in the 5th inning. I mean, when you're 4 or 5 in terms of getting on base tonight, that's pretty dang good.
And now Jacob Budzik, who's 2 for 4 on the day, will come to the plate. Runners on first and second and 2 outs.
3-year span.
Yeah.
I mean, had their last season in the MEAC, as now bases are loaded, but had that last season in the MEAC, then a season in the Big South, and then all of a sudden they felt like the CAA was a better fit for them.
Yeah, I think what they had always hoped for the CAA, that they felt like that was the better fit in terms of the if you're looking at this game from A&T's perspective, if I had to guess how Coach Hall is going to look at it, they just haven't hit the ball. I mean, the pitching hasn't been that bad. You had 3 errors that came at awful times and compounded things for you, and you just haven't hit the ball. Only 4 hits so far in this game, and that's something.
Tonight for North Carolina A&T.
Jose Perez will step in to lead off. Perez. First pitch from Bright on the inner half there for strike 1.
And here's the other thing, too, is that this night actually started so promising for time and has been able to produce some good results also. A local player played at Southwest Guilford High School.
So 1-1 count here to Parsons from Bright. Overhand, check swing. They'll say he did not come around.